Ladies and gentlemen, give Kayvon a warm applause. This is Kayvon, CEO of Periscope. Right now we're of course live streaming this, and I wanted to do something nice for Kayvon.
Are you going to give me a birthday cake too? It's not my birthday.
No. For everybody on the live stream as well, I want to do, and you have to walk with me, we're going to do a live Periscope experience. We'll walk from there to that piano, because you can play James Bond.
No,
okay.
We're not doing James Bond.
But we're going to do a wave with everybody, and I'm going to Periscope it. Let's go. A wave.
All right.
There we go. Okay. With sound today. So there we go. One, two.
Ready?
Yeah. Run.
That's a big stage.
I didn't hear anybody, so you need to scream as well.
I think they were so perplexed by what we were doing.
Oh man, we got a lot of love here. One more time. Now with sound.
Ready,
3,
guys?
2, 1. Okay, yeah, this is more like a stadium.
It's the most exercise anyone's gotten all day.
Do you exercise normally? I'm going to stop the Periscope. You can watch online, by the way. I don't know how to do. Yeah. Stop broadcast. Yeah. There we go. Do you?
I think we're done, right?
Yeah, we're done.
Cool.
Do you work out? You look like a guy who's
active.
working out.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. That's very nice of you. You look good too.
Oh, thanks. You live in San Francisco?
This is not how I thought any of this would go, by the way.
Yeah, I'm trying to start off the conversation with some compliments.
I'm so flattered already. Now you can hit me with the hard questions.
Yeah, indeed. You're the founder and CEO of Periscope. Everybody probably in this audience knows what that is. But what brought you to build this company?
My co-founder and I, Joe Bernstein, we've been building things together since we were in elementary school. I mean, we played computer games together, we built computers together, we started making websites together. We built our first company together, and then when we were taking time off a few years ago, we wanted to build something else together, and we came infatuated with this idea of really what we call teleportation. We wanted to be able to see the world in real time through other people's eyes, and so that's how we started working on what became Periscope and why we're still excited to work on it today.
Okay, cool. And basically, before you went live, your company got bought. Was that how did that happen?
You know, it was serendipitous. We were really heads down, focused on building Periscope, and you know, it took us probably 9 or 10 months to get to a place where we were really proud of what we'd built, and we were ready to share it more broadly. So, you know, when you're developing something, you're in a beta, you share it with your friends. We eventually shared it with our friends of friends and our investors' friends, and eventually, you know, Twitter found it before we had launched, and they kind of fell in love with it, and they reached out to us, and you know, the rest is history.
Yeah, it is. No, well, yeah. Well, we're still making history.
We're still making history, yes.
I remember very well that I think last year at South by Southwest there was another app out called Meerkat. Mm-hmm. That was actually 2 weeks before Periscope launched. So Meerkat, you know, took over the world for 2 weeks, and then you guys came. Did you have to move your launch earlier because of Meerkat? Or?
No, we didn't change anything about our approach. I think it was very serendipitous that two companies were thinking about a similar idea and launched around the same time. But that's the time that we live in, right? It's a very easy, it's a great time for startups to build things and release them and take them to market really quickly. But no, we were you know, in our garage working away on this for over a year. And though it was serendipitous, we kept to our guns. We were really proud of what we'd built, and we were excited to share it with the world.
Cool. Anybody in the audience, if you have a question, you can go to Twitter, use the hashtag TNW Europe, and mention also at KAYVZ.
Yeah, there you go.
That's your.
I didn't make it very easy for you to pronounce, but it's Kayvon.
Or use my Twitter handle at Patrick. Easier.
Slightly easier.
Yeah, slightly easier. Okay, so you launched that. Did you expect anything up front, or did you expect it to become so big?
Well, we were really hoping that people would use it. Anytime you work on something for even 10 months, you know, we were really excited about it, but we had a lot of anxiety about, like, would people even use this, and would they keep using it after they tried it for the first time? But we were really blown away by what we saw and what we continue to see today. I mean, it's a really special feeling when you build something with a bunch of your close friends and partners, and then you see people from all over the world using it.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that? What are you seeing that's making you so excited?
I think the thing that we're so proud of is that the spectrum of how people are using Periscope is really, really broad. So on one side of the spectrum, you have friends and family using it to broadcast to the people they care about, right? Like I'll be hanging out with my friends on my balcony, and I'll be broadcasting so that my other friends who are not in San Francisco can kind of like step into my shoes and see what it's like and talk to me in real time. On the other side of the spectrum, you have you have artists, you have athletes, you have celebrities connecting with their fans, you have citizen journalists and journalists sharing important things that are happening around the world, whether it's the Syrian refugee crisis, or whether it's an earthquake in Nepal, or whether it's the protests in Ferguson, Missouri, and you see everything in between. So our job is to really encapsulate all of that and editorialize it in a way that people can really see what's happening around the world.
And is that also probably the reason why Twitter was interested, that you capture live video from anywhere in the world where stuff actually happen?
I think the reason why Twitter was interested is because if you think about it, the vision for Twitter is so similar to Periscope's vision. We want to help show you the world in real time. Twitter it's a pulse of what's happening around the world right now through 140 characters, through pictures, through video, and now through live video. So I think given that alignment, that's one of the reasons why the partnership made a lot of sense.
I got a question here from an 11-year-old girl.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. She's asking how much Twitter paid.
They paid us with a lot of hashtags. How about that?
Okay. I'll answer that back. Is that stock or hashtag stock?
There are all kinds of hashtags, yeah.
But you bought some new shoes, they're probably $80.
You like my $60 Converse shoes?
Yeah. So at least
I bet they're less expensive than your shoes. What is this?
Yeah, this is Dutch.
This is like you put my suitcase on your feet.
Yeah.
With a gold strap.
You want to buy them?
Yeah, I'll buy them on eBay.
Okay, yeah, well, it's a lot of hashtags, you know. Going back to Periscope, if you think about live video and what it does.
By the way, I'm inching you closer to the edge, so you should watch out behind you.
What do you think that live video is doing with social in general?
I think one of the powerful things about live video today is it's not like the live video. Like, live isn't new. We've all sat around on our couches and watched a TV screen for over a decade, but what Periscope is that live video isn't is that it's interactive in a way that feels really powerful for the viewers. Because it's not the fact that it says live with a little red badge, it's the fact that I can ask you something as a viewer, and 2 seconds later the broadcaster is responding to you or taking you somewhere else you wanted to see. And that kind of interactivity is what feels magical. It's what makes the viewers feel like they can actually affect the experience they're watching. So to me, that's why live video now is super interesting.
And do you think that is more something like a one-to-many, or is it also in closed environments?
Again, that's what I think is special. For the year that we were developing Periscope, in beta and without it being public on the App Store and the Google Play Store, we were using it in small groups. The largest broadcast I'd ever been in was 40 people. Now you have, Kevin Hart will broadcast and get 60,000 people to watch, and you'll have, people who don't have any following on Twitter happen to be in the right time in the right place or the wrong time at the right place, and they broadcast some dramatic thing that's happening around the world, and you have hundreds of thousands of people watch them. So it can be one-to-many, but it can also be as simple as you having a few of your friends. When my mom broadcasts, she has like 4 people watching, but it's the 4 people who care the most about her, and she can't do that with FaceTime, right? That's a one-to-one relationship,
yeah.
But with Periscope you can.
Actually, my first experience with Periscope was also in a closed group. It was quite
with your mom?
Difficult to explain to my parents, but my son was in the hospital last year during this conference. Was when Periscope just got out, and I wanted to show my family, how it was, my son was on the intensive care, and I wanted to, Periscope it. So I did that. It was a very nice experience. Although I had some troubles, with them getting on. They didn't have a Twitter account, so those type of things. But it was an interesting experience. I have another question. What's the craziest thing that ever got periscoped?
Oh my goodness. There's been a lot of crazy things on Periscope. I think my favorite thing, This is just a personal opinion. I'm a huge tennis fan, and last year, Roger Federer did a broadcast where he was walking at Wimbledon with the president of the club from the ball boys, court where they were preparing through the royal box onto center court. And this is, mind you, like a week before the tournament started, and you rarely get to see behind the scenes at Wimbledon, but to be able to have Roger Federer, of all people, walk you through and get down real low and show you a blade of grass on center court and answer your questions was unbelievable.
Did you pay him for that?
No, we didn't pay him a dime.
Ah, that's good marketing.
Yeah.
Is there? So there's another question in this area. The most live streamed event.
Ooh. So the ones that come to mind. One is probably one that you wouldn't expect, which was we had. How many of you have heard of the Drummond puddle watch? Raise your hand.
Ooh. Not so many.
Not so many. All right, so someone put an iPhone outside their windowsill in the UK filming a puddle. And like 10 people were watching, and then 100 people started watching, and then a couple thousand people started watching, and before you knew it, more and more people kept joining, being like, why are all these people watching a puddle? And something like 500,000 people watched this puddle for hours, and eventually people started like bringing canoes to the puddle, Domino's delivered a pizza to the puddle, and it just became this like social experiment where people were like, we don't understand why all these people are watching, but we're gonna play this game. And so that was a really powerful one. We've had a bunch of breaking news events that have had a lot of viewers as well.
Can you tell me anything about the number of years of video that's being watched on Periscope, or any numbers?
Yeah, so sure. A month and a half ago, we announced that every day over 111 years worth of live broadcasts are watched every day on Periscope.
So that was a month and a half ago?
That was a month and a half ago.
So what are you announcing now?
I don't have any new numbers to announce right now, but we also announced that we've had 200.
Is it growing?
Yeah, it's growing. I mean, all the metrics we care about are growing impressively, and I think that's because, again, now is the time for live video in a way that 5 years ago it just wasn't as tenable for people to broadcast and watch live content in a way that was appealing. Yeah,
so live video, we all know that's taking off, and we also see it at one of your competitors, Facebook, right? Facebook Live. That's integrated in their own app. Is that something you guys have been thinking about this? So you have two apps, Twitter, Periscope.
Why?
Yeah, why?
So I think that there's...
Or why does Facebook have one app?
Well, you're going to have to ask them that question. I think that there's a lot of value in having a dedicated place for watching and creating live video. If you think about all the apps that you all use that are successful, they're very purpose-built. You have one app for messaging, you have one app for sending pictures, you have one app for sending email, you have another app for calendars, another app for your alarm. I think you should have an app for creating and watching live video. That being said, there are very few apps out there that can kind of create this ecosystem of lots of different functionality, and Twitter is one of them. Twitter is what everyone in this room depends on to stay connected to the world, and so we should be integrating with Twitter, which is why over the last few months you now see native Periscope integration, where if you're browsing through your timeline, you see auto-playing live Periscopes in there natively, even if you've never used the Periscope app. And we've actually started rolling out functionality where when you compose a tweet, starting with Android, and we're going to roll this out over time, when you compose a tweet, there will be a button that lets you go live using Periscope, even if you've never heard of the Periscope app. So I think with that approach, we get the best of both worlds, having a purpose-built app, but also leveraging the best of Twitter and the real estate and all the people who use it.
All right. And if you look at the power users on Periscope, can you point them out? Can you say, like, these are kind of like...
The power users?
Yeah, the power users.
Yeah, I mean, one of the amazing things is very quickly we started to see our own power users who became kind of dedicated Periscopers. These are artists or amateur musicians who are playing guitar and interacting with their audience. These are people who are doing collaborative drawings on Periscope where they literally have a blank canvas with a paintbrush and they wait for people to type comments, and they'll draw a blue sky or a green tree or whatever people are typing. And these are the folks that are broadcasting tens of times a day. You also have other people who, again, they're in the right time in the right place, and they broadcast because they see something that they want to share with the world or with their friends.
You recently integrated GoPro in Periscope. How can you say anything about that? How's that working?
Yeah, I mean, the way we think of this is we want to make it as powerful as possible for broadcasters to be creative. So a couple of things we've launched in this area are GoPro integration and drone integration as of about a month ago. So now you can, if you're broadcasting on Periscope, you can switch between your front-facing camera, your rear-facing camera, your GoPro, and your drone all in the same broadcast. So we see some amazing content. You see professional skiers, broadcasting down going down a mountain and doing jumps and tricks and stuff with their GoPro, because they obviously can't hold their phone. And you see some amazing footage shot from drones as well.
Are you a product guy?
I think so, yeah. That's a very subjective question.
Yeah, I mean, some say, no, I'm CEO, just do the strategy or whatever. So what are some things some really hard problems that you have been working on in the past year that you're very proud of?
I think that's a very good question. I think that, I think what we're most proud of is that I think, this sounds self-serving, but I think we've crafted Periscope in a way where it feels charming enough to broadcast that people do it in the first place. Because inherently, live broadcasting is pretty terrifying. You're live, you don't know whether people like what they're seeing, you don't know whether you should continue, whether you should stop, you don't know how many people are watching, and I think there's a lot of things that we had to build to make Periscope feel charming enough that you would want to do it in the first place, rather than taking a picture or taking a video and uploading it afterwards, which is why when we first built Periscope and we used it, we didn't like it. It was terrifying. It was anxiety-inducing to be live, and then we started doing things like creating the comments, showing the real-time viewer count, adding the hearts on the screen, making the hearts flutter and fly. All these little things took us months and months. Now, if we were to erase our code base and start from scratch, it'd be a lot faster to build it, but it was that sort of product thinking and design thinking that our team spent a lot of time on to make it work. That, and I'd say the other thing is the technical infrastructure around facilitating a live broadcast that's one-to-many but still low latency, to the tune of 1.5 seconds latency. That took a lot of time for us to build the infrastructure around, because only with that truly real-time nature can you have the interactivity. Whereas when you watch something live, if you watch a live stream on TV or even on the web, it's usually 30 to 60 seconds latency.
So this Saturday we have the Champions League finals. Maybe not that big in the US, big thing here in Europe. It's all content that the rights are owned by the UEFA, and it's blocked per country or sold per country. What you of course see is people put their or their phone in front of the TV and stream it on Periscope. You see that with bigger events in any way. On YouTube it's getting blocked. How is that on Periscope? Is that a growth strategy for you?
It's not a growth strategy. It
should be one.
I don't think so. When we think about the type of content we want to have on our ecosystem, we don't want to have a bunch of people pointing their phones at a TV screen. That's not particularly interesting, nor is it in service to our vision that we started in the first place. But to your question, we have to have policies, we have to have processes, and we have to have people to manage this stuff, because we don't want to have people rebroadcasting other people's copyright work, which is why one of our policies is...
Of course, that's what you have to say. But I really like it if I'm away. My Dutch app doesn't work abroad, so that I can watch Periscope and watch the soccer match.
Again, this is something that we've spent a lot of time on creating processes, where if content is reported to us that's being rebroadcasted of another copyright thing, we take it down. We take it down very quickly. We take this stuff really seriously. And frankly, one of the things we want to do is work with copyright holders to make sure they're creating content that's actually compelling. Roland Garros is a good example, right? The French Open is happening right now. You could make the same argument about people wanting to watch French Open tennis, but Roland Garros is broadcasting 15, 20 times a day. Rafa practicing, Djokovic practicing, people doing press interviews behind the scenes. These are the ways that we want people to engage with the Roland Garros brand and their content, rather than watching some retransmission that they can get for free elsewhere.
Yeah, sure. So there are a lot of...
Wow.
No, yeah, that's something Dutch. Guy. No, it's something Dutch. It doesn't mean that I don't believe you. Okay. I believe you. Sorry. If you look at, there are a lot of companies in here. How can these companies use live video to engage their audience? Do you have any tips?
Yeah, I mean, I think just using a product like Periscope to engage with your customers in a new way is interesting. I'll give you a very silly example that means a lot to me. I have a dog. His name is Scotch. There's a company called BarkBox, which is like Netflix for dog treats. Like they send you dog treats every month. And I've been a customer of BarkBox for a while. And when we launched Periscope, they started using it to show the next month's treat subscription that was going to come. And so before you knew it, I was watching BarkBox's office. They're showing around all the dogs and all the pets that are in the office, and they're showing, like, as a customer, what I paid for that's going to come the next month, which was a really simple usage that made my affinity for that brand a lot higher. But you also see all kinds of other companies.
Did you reach out to those founders to ask if that reduced churn?
I did not specifically ask that question, but given the fact that I'm on stage and having that conversation and it meant that much to me, I think that people who can engage with those brands in ways that are new and meaningful, it's not an advertisement, it's I got to connect with a company that I care about in some way or fashion in a way that's new. So I think that there's a lot of people doing interesting stuff like that. And BMW released a car on Periscope. One of you had the opportunity to sort of chat in real time to the product manager of BMW i3 as he was cruising around the car showing you the components and how it was made. I think there's lots of interesting ways that people are, again, just pushing the envelope on how they can engage with an audience.
All right, cool. We're actually over time, but yeah, I have to, as long as nobody kicks us off the stage. By the way, you have to look at this. We have these sensors. Look at the arrows. They point at us, but now we're going to walk. Huh? You see?
Whoa. Oh. What happens if you walk that way and I walk this way?
I think we'll break it.
Oh man, they didn't think of that.
Break it. But it's pretty cool.
Just killing time at this point, guys. Don't worry about it.
Nobody's kicking us off.
You're the co-founder.
Yeah, but they can kick me off.
They could, yeah.
Are you afraid of getting fired?
It's not something that I actively think about. Should I be worried?
Well, I talked to this.
Are you afraid of being fired for wasting time on stage?
Yes, I am. Yeah. I talked to the CEO of Twitter here in the Netherlands, and he was pointing a little bit
like, is Jack here?
No, Jack is not here, but Mark, also 4 letters. He was hinting a little bit that you had to be worried a little bit.
I don't.
I'm kidding, man. Okay, thank you very much. We're going off stage.
Guys.
See you on Periscope.